Maybe German takes the lead. Maybe I just
No. I've done it.
No.
I would like to say something as well in the beginning, that the theme is sexuality, and there might be some words like penis, vagina, orgasm, climax, wet, hard erection, or whatever, so that you don't get offended. So we have set them first. They are now being set. So whenever you're feeling like kind of uncomfortable, now they are set, and we can talk as human adults about different words that we normally don't talk about in society.
Thank you, Matt.
I think I love that you said that, because that's the whole point, like just to know, and even if we are uncomfortable having triggers, that's brilliant, you know, like all of us have different perceptions and angles and ideas, and to just be aware about that. Okay,
Sana, you're the boss.
Am I the boss?
Yes.
Finally. All right, so take off. Welcome everyone, welcome again. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for being here with us and exploring these juicy topics with us. So my name is Susanna, and I'm here with
Matthias Schwentek.
And Dan.
Yes. And we are the trio of De-Armoring Arts, and we love, or I can speak for myself, but a little bit for them. We love to explore life, and we kind of have a sport as personal development is kind of a sport. So I would like to start with, why don't you, Dean, just take a minute to introduce yourself briefly?
Okay, so I'm Dan, and introduction. So I guess, because I've been celibate now for technically 6 years, but actually if we take the year and a half of every 6 months having a little bang bang with Sana, then it's actually almost 8 years.
That is 8 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. So this is why this topic kind of got popularity in a school, because people are kind of asking me, why the fuck are you doing it? Including Sana and Matt. So I don't really know what to say in terms of introductions, but I think this is enough for now. And as the conversation carries on, if there are any more questions, I'm super open to share and to talk. Over to you guys.
Matt?
Yeah, okay. So I'm into Tantra sacred sexuality since 1997 or so. I had a tantric awakening in 2000, something like that, and have played and explored around in Berlin. That was my playground, Kit Kat Club, nightlight scene, and kind of sex positive environment. I have been married, I have children, I have been in monogamous situation, I've been in polyamory, I've been kind of celibate by accident or by fuck up. And so I've been very interested in all themes around sexuality my entire life. So I've been a facilitator of Tantra and sacred sexuality. I'm a facilitator with Deanne and Sana about sexual de-armoring. I was a body worker for almost 10 years. I'm still doing it here and there. And I'm really curious about everything that has to do with sexual transformation, with sexual energy. And I would not call it Tantra anymore, but I would call it kind of transformative energy about our sexuality. And I'm really excited about being here today.
Yay.
And you, Sana.
Thank you, Matt. So my name is Susanna. Some of you know me as Sana, previous Sana Sanita, or formerly Sana Sanita. Now I go under Susanna Beatrice. And I would say I am extremely curious. I've been on a path of spiritual and personal development for about 25 years, started early, always had this calling in my heart for something different in society. And different roads led me to start exploring sexuality consciously. I've always been kind of curious and sexually open. But about 13 years ago, I came across de-armoring and started to explore the tantric path more consciously, just to discover that I've been tantric my whole life, basically, when it comes more to the energetic principles, yeah. But I dove into the realm of sexual healing, sexual de-armoring, tantra, polyamory, and so I've been on a ride for that the past 13 years. I write a book on money, sex, and power because I think sexuality is a topic that is super important to lift up, and because it's such a, you know, potent, fascinating field that is so distorted in many ways. And I think it's important that we have, you know, even more open dialogues and conversations, so we just relax a little bit more around the topic, right? What else to say? Basically, I'm super open. I've tried polyamory. I love monogamous relationships. I've been in celibacy, and I will talk more about it. Yeah. So I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here and happy to answer your questions or dialogue, whatever comes up.
So I have a question to you guys, to you two.
Yeah.
But mostly to, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I just love that you brought it up. You know, this tree, I'm just gonna say that. So Matt and I, we met like 10, 11 years ago, and Matt was one of my first teachers actually in sexual healing work. And I was so turned on by Matt by then. But we were never lovers. He'd been like the best teacher ever. He transformed my life massively. I'm not gonna go into this, a different story. But later on, I met Diane, and Diane and I was lovers, 8 years ago, 7 years ago. And then I became partner with Matt. And now we have this beautiful friendship, like a deep bond of love between us, and we work together. That's really, really lovely. You know, some people are never friends with their partners. You know, there is this like you know, they don't meet still. And I'm just so happy that we have this beautiful bond of friendship and love between us, and our relations just keeps on evolving. Yeah, we're not defined really. I don't want
by saying that, the three of us working together, the sexual thing is out of the way, and that's so liberating.
Yeah.
For me, by default.
So to come back to my question, and Mirabelle was coming up with this question the last webinar about the benefits the benefits of celibacy and sexual freedom, and the webinar got formed around this name, and so we want to dive deeper into that, about this topic, kind of what is celibacy for you? Is celibacy you just like completely away from sexual energy at all, or does celibacy means you don't have sexual encounter with other people? And sexual freedom means that you are with other people, or does it mean that you fuck around, or you just have a lot of intercourse, or you just totally everything, or you just like monogamy and committed to one person? So the distinction between celibacy and sexual freedom, I would like you, maybe, Deanne, to start defining them from your perspective.
Okay, so actually, when I was reading all the messages and all the even you too, actually, about the reasons for celibacy, nobody actually touched the one that is my reason. So the reason I'm celibate is because I'm on this path of self-mastery, if you like. And about 8 years ago, my teacher told me, in working with me, that actually I was super promiscuous prior to that, like polyamory, like all of it, years and years of just everything. But I didn't know how to manage the emotional and relating dynamics between me and people. Somehow there was layers and layers of it. One layer was being hurt by women a lot, like from karmic and this life. So there was a lot of mistrust towards women in the first place. Then there was a layer of I was explosively, sexually, compulsively active. And so I just wanted to fuck everything that moved, or flirt with everything that moved, or be sexually open to everything that moved. But what that did, and this is what I didn't actually get, and this eventually became a reason why I had to go celibate while I'm still celibate, is that every one of those openings where my second chakra didn't know its boundary. Second chakra is to do with relating. It's relationships. It's me and my potential partners, that and many other things as well. But it essentially, when it comes to topic of celibacy, that's the second chakra domain. So what it created was layers and layers and layers of women being hooked into my energetic body and me being hooked into them. Most of it was unconscious, but that still doesn't stop it. And so the result of it was that my hip area, my whole pelvic floor, in fact, not just pelvic floor, the whole hip area was physically tight, physically hot, and I was unable to relax it. Like I was never like, if you have a fist like this, I can do this. In my whole kind of pelvic area, it was always like this, and I couldn't relax it. Like no matter what I tried, it was always tight. And so then, because on this path that I'm on, it came a point of like everything has to be relaxed and worked through and transmuted and transformed and softened so the energy can go up and down easily. And so this is when my teacher said, look, man, like I don't know how to tell you this, but there are countless women hooked into the second chakra. And unless you stop engaging, you cannot clear it. And we need to clear it. So for me, it was choosing either path to God, which meant say no to relating, or it was doing what I was doing, enjoy life, and say goodbye to my path. And that I wasn't prepared to do. So then I started, and initially I asked her, how long is it going to take? I was thinking like maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then I can go and play again. And she was like, well, I know one guy that did it in 8 years, one did it in 14 years, so I don't know how long it's going to take you. I was like, oh, fuck. Oof. But because I'm so committed to my path, and because I was so promiscuous before, honestly, another pussy couldn't fix me. Like another fuck is just not going to do it. It's not going to save me. Like I fucked enough, and I didn't get enlightened, and I didn't become a master. So it didn't make me happy. It didn't work through this ball of fire. And if like my hips felt like they were stretched to every direction continually 24/7 non-stop. I was like pulled like just like on a cross from every direction, and I didn't know how to relax. So I had to stop. And so what started happening?
Can I ask you a personal question, Deanne, about
that? Let me just roll. You're gonna have to hold it. I'm on a roll.
Okay.
And so what started happening as months went by, after about 6 months, I started feeling more relaxation. Like this was happening easier, but still was not done. And basically now, almost 8 years later, I'm still not fully open, but I'm much, much more relaxed, way more able to do this stuff with my whole hip area, all the muscles that are connected to it. So, okay, Matt, go on then.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. I mean, many people know at the moment, I'm really interested in kind of creating video material and just like collecting different topics and ideas. And one of them is, for example, the NoFap theme. So some of you might know NoFap is the kind of extension of Fap, and Fap is just like masturbating, ejaculating to porn, and NoFap means people getting off porn and the addiction of ejaculation to porn. And I was wondering specifically in celibacy, and as well in this topic, celibacy and sexual freedom, but in celibacy, what are you doing with your sexual energy? So I know that you just release here and there to just like get your semen going or get or your fluid out. But so how do you individually engage with your own personal sexual energy? So the question comes from that direction, specifically in NoFap. that people say, well, it's this completely abstinence of not only porn, as well of fantasizing, as well of kind of turning myself on and touching myself and self-pleasuring. And I have a completely different approach to that. But towards you and what might other people interested in celibacy. So what are you doing with your sexual energy as a life force energy instead of kind of pushing it down? So how do you keep it alive and as an engaging vibration in your body?
So that's a broad question, and I need to narrow it down a little bit. So first of all, I never had a problem with porn or addiction. I just went out and fucked. So my drive didn't stop and still active. But what I found is first, I can't remember how many months, but months and months, I didn't come at all because I thought, celibacy, so I'm not gonna come. What I started feeling is in my right leg, between my groin and the knee on the inside of the right leg, I started feeling the sensation like water trickling feeling. I mean, obviously there wasn't water inside my leg, and it kind of felt like you could get a fuck, like wrong, really, really wrong feeling. And I didn't know what it was. And then I had Suzanne Rosgart actually gave me anal dearmoring. We were looking at what's really going on, and she said, listen, your prostate is really enlarged there and you should go and check it out. And I thought, wow, I know why, because I didn't come. And so then I started masturbating just purely for the purpose of releasing the pressure, not really fantasizing, not really being interested in, because I was like focused on my path. This was just energetically, physically almost, I had to deal with this sensation in my leg. And then initially I had to do it, I don't know how many times, but quite a few. And then the sensation stopped. I thought, okay, this kind of fixed it. And then I would gauge it. And at first it was like, maybe like once a month. If I didn't masturbate, I would start feeling after a while, after like a month, I would start feeling this feeling again in the leg. And I thought, haha, I know what to do. So I went and then it stopped. And so now it really depends, honestly, because I get horny, of course. Like springtime and summertime, I get super horny, and then it's more times. Then it's like a few times a week. But sometimes in the winter can be like a few times a month. But for me, it's completely disconnected. It's got nothing to do with sexuality. Yeah, it's like I'm gone past now by so many years that now I'm just looking at the mechanics and dynamics of my internal energy system. So that's one answer. The other answer, we were talking about the cultivating sexual energy, or how do I deal with that? And this I actually don't have a problem because I have so much fire, so much energy in the body anyway. I didn't ever have to cultivate my sexual energy because it was depleting. I always have plenty. So now I just have plenty. So balancing testosterone, this is a super important topic. And so this is where this thing comes into play. So for me, I need to be creative. So I need to use the energy in a creative way. I need to do sport. I find that if I don't do sport, I kite a lot. And if I don't kite or if I don't do sport, then my body starts getting too fidgety. I don't know, I can feel them out of sync, I cannot be present. So for me, it's a combination of creativity. Creativity can be in many different ways. I can also create my house. I can be a daddy, which I am. I can create my business. I can just do crazy things, but sport also I need to do. So it's managing the testosterone, managing the sperm count, and that feeling in the leg, in the prostate. And then Sana also knows when I started the journey, I had to be like, get the fuck out of me. Like all the women, like, get the fuck out, like quite forcefully, because I didn't know how to be with, because I was so used to engaging, so used to being kind of fully active. And I didn't know how to be with, like, if she would come close to me or somebody would come close to me, I just didn't know how to be with it. So I had to be forcefully out for a few years. But recently I kind of found a way now they can be in my face, horny as they want, and it doesn't faze me. I don't
Somebody has their microphone on. Oh, yeah.
I beg your pardon? No, it's
Somebody
me.
has
It's raining. No, it's rain. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's raining. So now I find this way of, I can just be, I know I'm not gonna engage. It doesn't phase me. Sometimes recently, I started thinking recently, I mean like over the last maybe few months, I kind of think like that. I'm like, oh my God, like I wouldn't know how to do it anymore. Like I've forgotten. I need to start going back to school, and like when I start getting sexually active again, maybe, I don't know, re-educate myself on how to do it, because it's been so long.
Penis in vagina.
Ah, that's how you do it. Anyway, so
Like,
I think that's enough talking. It was a very, very long answer. I'm open to questions, but I'm passing the torch.
You have anything, Sana?
oh, what it means for me with celibacy or sexual.
I have a question.
There was a
Dan,
question.
Dan, I have a question for you.
Sorry, who is talking?
It's
Marco.
me, Marco.
Hey.
Hi. My question is, by being on this long path of celibacy, did your need for intimacy also disappeared?
Define intimacy.
Closeness with a loved one, physical contact, skin hunger.
No, I never had. No, I don't have that. I don't need that. Somehow, I don't need it. The thing is that because I'm on this path, I'm intimate with myself, and because I work with people, I have many tools that help me get in touch with myself on an intimate level and to feel myself deeply, essentially through skin, through sensitivity. So I don't actually, I don't know, like with my daughter, we are very touchy-feely, and but still I don't have that need. I'm kind of built maybe in a way that I don't really need that, because I know some people need it and some people don't, or not as much. So at the moment, or at least for the last few years, I don't really have that craving, if you like, or need. Yeah.
So a question that I would have, kind of, because something's starting to bubble like up in me, but do you have anything else, Sana, that you would like to talk or ask, or?
Am I just thinking if we're gonna share the two of us, or I don't have a question for Dian right now.
Okay, no, then you start, Shani.
Can you ask me the question? It's easier for me to kickstart them.
Yeah, so my question to you individually, as on a personal level, as we have been engaging and relating and being sexual partners, and kind of, my take on, as a man, kind of the goalless sexuality, and this is something that is really an interesting, important topic, specifically for women, and as well from my perspective, that I, as a man, I just like try to cultivate my sexual energy. That means if I climax in the form of a peak orgasm, I know that I deplete my energy, and I'm just like kind of going, I'm probably ejaculation celibate, but when it comes to sexual energy, I'm in sexual freedom. But I know that you and women have a different approach about orgasm or climaxing or orgasmic waves or orgasmic freedom or orgasmic expansion from a perspective of your natural expression with your sexual energy. And I'm curious about how you feel and think and how around that as a woman.
Thank you. That's let's see if I want to start with that. I'm just going to start in another corner.
Every corner.
And I've been contemplating since we decided to set up this webinar. There's like, it's the topic being kind of alive in my awareness, in my system, and I've been thinking about going into celibacy, just like 6 months or 8 months, something, because I really want to dedicate and focus all my energy into building a fundament in my business for the moment. So there are some visions I want to follow. And then I noticed that, lately I've been flirting a little bit. I've been on some dating sites trying that, and I've been there, and like my energy been out, and I realized how much energy it takes, So it really is a distraction, yeah, and it actually is also not the priority for me. Like I love my, little bit like Dian, like I'm so dedicated to my path and my purpose, and so for that I actually consider to go into celibacy for the moment. Just to what happens if I just consciously put the blinders on. So it's a conscious choice, not by default or not by my accident. Like lately, I have not been so sexually active with others. It's been like it happened to me. It was not by choice. But I was like, okay, but then my energy is still out there. So actually now I feel like, okay, I just want to go, fully into myself. Yeah. So it's interesting to explore that. But when it comes to sexual energy, and for me that is life force. For me it's when I cultivate my sexual energy and arousal, I become a better person. Like I become a better woman. I become more happy. I become more creative. It feels wonderful to be myself. Like it feels wonderful to be me because it's this like buzzy, champagne feeling in my body. So I also exercise a lot. I do a lot of breath work. I meditate and go kind of deep into my energy field, and I really like it's like cosmic crack for me. I love that word. And to just talk into what you said, like the like goalless sex, I totally agree to that. That for me it's and the goal is not to come, basically. Like I feel I don't get so depleted. Sometimes I'm just lazy and I have like a clitoris orgasm, and then sometimes I kind of work my body much more. It's a bit different. I don't get depleted, really. What I notice is that my butt cheeks gets tighter, and then doing yoga is more difficult. So that makes me don't want to do it. Because like the peak orgasms is more like it's like a contraction, so you want to go into the expansion more. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just curious how you are with this days compared to my memory.
Yeah, man. I mean, the breath work and meditation is my go-tos, and I mean, my body is activated, and then I love going to take like pleasure sessions, or I don't do it as often anymore. But if there is a good person around who offers more of their pleasure-based sessions, I love that. Yeah. And then I just want to end with one thing when it comes to like celibacy or sexually active, that I think I see there is a value in all of it, and I encourage everybody to explore their own. I encourage everybody to explore. Like we only know by experience, and we only know once we have experienced. Yeah, so I've went through polyamory and I see the beauty of that, but for the moment I would not go into that. Like I want simplicity and ease, which no relationship is fully. But it's like the more I can contain my energy for the moment and go deeper, that is more interesting for me, for example. But it all has its beauty. Everything has its beauty, and it's a lot I can talk into it, but I'm gonna pause it there. Yeah. Or a lot I can say about it. Yeah.
Maybe I jump into that and just share my perspective about celibacy and sexual freedom. I think I'm a kind of a mix between the both. So I'm sexual celibate, I think by coincident, accident. So my last relationship ended last September, and I was not really inspired to go in anything else because I feel like I don't want to engage with other people if it's not matching my own energy field. And I'm kind of not interested in being in the same vibration, and I don't want to educate anybody else anymore. And it's so difficult, specifically being a sexual educator for so many years, that I just want to be free in the bedroom or free with my sexual energy. And but being in celibacy means, for me personally, I'm very sexually active with myself. So I have a very cultivated sexual practice that I call edging. And edging is pretty much this kind of place of sensual expansion into literally infinity, and then having multi-orgasmic stages where I can hang out in this infinite space of expansion and peace and ecstasy for hours. I love that. And sometimes I wonder, it's like, is it actually kind of an addiction? And maybe it is, but I don't really care because it feels really good and it's really liberating in my body. And I really love it. And it's really freeing. And I have the full access. I call that the orgasmic grid, and I can tap in whenever I want to. And why the heck would I limit myself and have with somebody a sexual experience that would be just like a kind of a spike of that, what I can experience with myself, if I can't do that with another person? And that would be not of my interest, or I would not be curious about having kind of a little kind of peak here and there if it's not matching the vibration I can have. So, and because of that, I have, you know, when I feel it sometimes on a daily basis, full moon comes, is pretty soon, and that activates me. So I'm very into that. And then I have some days nothing is happening for me. And then I have sometimes by choice kind of like a ritual for myself where I go into an ecstatic orgasmic state and celebrate myself for hours. So I think this is a kind of combination between celibacy and sexual liberation. And yeah, curious how that is resonating, what we three have shared with other people. And we have already 40 minutes in, and want to open this up for questions and answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear some. Yes.
Please. Yeah.
Unmute yourself and then run in.
Christian.
Christiana. Can't hear you. I will ask to unmute.
So unmuting is in left-hand corner on the
Thank you.
microphone.
I found. Thank you for your comments, and I'm a bit excited talking to so much people about this topic. Maybe other people can relate to this. But what I not heard in 40 minutes is the word love, and I'm in a time I had no sex for many years because I understood that I need love. I need a deep soul connection. And I was kind of shocked a few weeks ago as I heard the word demisexual. And I don't know if you're used to this word demisexual. I found out this is an expression for people who need an emotional connection to their partners to have sexual feelings. And the word demi, as I understood and learned, is means half. It's a French word, half. And it's very difficult for me to understand why not being in a why to be in a deep emotional connection towards somebody is something not full. Because for me, would mean a very full state, to have a sexual connection with somebody and a really loving relationship. So I just can't agree with this term, to be demisexual, to not be fully somehow, because I want everything, in a connection. And we can of course discuss what does everything mean. So everything can mean something totally different for every person. But for me, it means to have not only a bodily sensation towards somebody, but also my heart and my soul and my interests and my daily being. So I would be very curious what you think about this emotional aspect of sex. Thank you.
Yeah. I can.
Luciana, or can?
Yeah, I can take that. Or
Okay,
you want?
I've as well something.
Yeah, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll just make it short, in maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I love that, and it's so important. And when it comes to sexuality, for example, when I'm in sexual relationship with myself, I love myself dearly in this. And without this self-love, I would not have any interest in sexual encounter. And when I'm in sexual relationship with a woman, without love, sex doesn't work for me. And literally love makes me hard. And if there is no love in the place, erection doesn't happen for me. And my experience with sexuality is that I feel a penetration from that love that comes towards me that makes me erected or hard. And it feels like I'm penetrating back with love. And that's always the go-to or the key component. And one important piece, and to round that up, is, and I'm very dedicated and excited and passionate about this dynamic about the woman's body and the wiring of the nervous system, specifically about the womb and the wiring of the vagal complex to the heart and the social engagement system that literally needs safety and connection to actually feel this emotional response and this emotional cycle and loop. And without that, I'm actually not really interested in sexuality.
Thank you so much. That helps. Yeah. Okay.
So,
That makes things more full to hear this. Yes.
And I agree. I think because this topic is so broad and we kind of dip with, we talk about the energy and relationship and polyamory, all of those topics deserve like a deep dive on its own. So the lovemaking or having sex with love, I mean, I think we all three can agree upon that, or at least I want to speak fully for myself. For me, I cannot just fuck without emotion. Like I am an extremely loving being. Like I love so much. I can even meet a stranger, make love, and I just love. I love. This is what I do. I love. Like I penetrate with love. This is who I am. And I cannot shut it off, and I would never go and be with somebody just like to have a hungry, horny fuck. I cannot. It is just completely uninteresting for me, completely. And for me, it's very much of a connective and deep spiritual practice. Like for me, it's like connection is key always. Connection is always key. Like I have zero interest in just fucking around or being like, no, So thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Becoming misunderstood. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Thanks.
who else?
Great question. Any other?
Well, Mirabel asked a question here. She's saying also thought came by that when you become really, really open, sensitive, and de-armored, I feel like you will become very lonely, and it must be hard to find an equal partner if you wish to have a partner. I can kind of disagree with that one because we're mixing different questions here. So at least, we create our own reality. There is no this equals that. Whatever energy I have inside myself will attract or will mirror my inner understanding back to me. So it absolutely doesn't mean that if you become de-armored and open and sensitive that you end up alone. It just means that you're going to become a different person and you're going to attract a different kind of person. Different kind of reality will be reflected back to you. So I wouldn't like your question, I wouldn't even contemplate that concept. I would maybe say like right now, I'm going to talk about myself. Let's say right now my heart is closed and I'm fully armored. I'm going to find a partner who is similar. When I become de-armored and fully soft and open, I'm going to find a partner who is equal to that. This is the equation. Your question doesn't really equate, at least not in my perception. Maybe the other two will have a different answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's even more complex than just equals attract equals, because there's all about personal complexity and who do we attract and why and all of this, but it's another webinar, so we can go into that.
Yeah.
But definitely, when you become more sensitive, so for me, I cannot have a lover that just like, I want to make her come, for example. It's just like this transaction and doing and forcing, or it just doesn't work because my body is so open. So my standard, I raise my standard because I'm more sensitive. I raise my standard, and then I want to be met in the level where I am. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. But by you dearming yourself, like, why wouldn't you want to become an even, like, why wouldn't you want to explore your potential even more? Why would you stay in a level because of some fear? I know you're not there, but you know, why would we do that? So that's just, you know, that's just mind. Yeah. And of course, the more you work with yourself, the more aware you become, the more sensitive you become, the harder it is to find equals, because that's not the majority of population. That's also truth. You know, there is less playground.
I disagree.
Yeah, I do that then.
Thank you. Very generous.
You're welcome. So I would say, I mean, that's the best gift I ever given to myself, is to really go deep into my body and my sexuality, because it's just wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zip
Maybe I
it.
can give my 5 cents to that,
Yes.
Mirabelle. And I just read your question before as well. That you know, I know a little bit about your history, and the question is then, of course, without talking about anything, if there is an attachment created as soon as you're engaging with another person. So where you're giving yourself away into somebody else and making yourself dependent on what's coming back, how you be received. And from that perspective, it's probably a really good decision to cultivate yourself in there, instead of just like trying to figure that out in unconscious engagements and trying to identify and find yourself in sexual encounters and relationship that doesn't serve you very well. Yeah. So the question then is just really to figure out what's the attachment style, and
Exactly.
where do you lose yourself, where do you give yourself away?
Yeah.
And then, of course, I mean, we have talked in the de-armoring training, just tiny little bit shared about that relationship dynamics that has to start with ourselves, with agency, autonomy, ownership about our feeling, ourselves independently. And you only find that in solitude with yourself, you know, as you just said that, long walks in nature, and then observing yourself when you come in proximity with another person. Where do you change and make small steps in engagement where you realize and recognize, well, I give myself away here and I'm kind of just like losing myself in there. And the way how I see that is, as soon you just find somebody with similar values of agency, ownership, autonomy about whatever is important in your life, then you recognize that you don't have to project, and the other person doesn't project either. So there's no attachment created, and all of a sudden you have an energy field between you that is kind of vibrating and resonating. And out of that energy field, what I call this interpersonal space, this is where something can occur that I call relationship. Yeah, and wherever that goes, you know, the idea of that relationship is there an intention behind that? Where do you want to go together? You know, it's just like, what's the vibration that is being created, aiming for? It's just like, what's the project? Maybe you just want to create a business, maybe you want to create family, maybe you build a house, maybe you want to travel together, maybe you just want to just like be sensual and sexual and just making love for a spiritual experience, but being really communicative and honest and clear and transparent about intentions. Yeah, this is what I would say to that. And that's a very deep journey for me, again and again and again, and that probably never stops.
Can I chime in here?
But wait, Mirabelle, can you just feedback, was this useful, or does it bring new questions? Because I feel like there's a deep something in there, and I'm not sure if nothing
Fear in there.
Yeah, no, it's super useful, all the three perspectives. So that what Matt said, it comes up that I think I really have a mindset still of, when I'm not giving myself away, I'm closing myself. And because I try to become an open being, like heart open, but I think I confuse the chakras here.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah. I think I confuse the heart and the second chakra.
And
So
then
this
being
is very... Huh?
No, but then being a little kind of this boundaryless, like you don't really feel yourself, and then you do it because you want to be brave, you want to grow, you want to learn something maybe, and then you override yourself. You don't kind of catch up on the micro movements within. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, it was like that before, and still, of course, there's a lot to learn. But I've met a lot of the demons down there during the training. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think James, you had your mic unmuted.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a really valuable conversation. I'm really glad to be in a group of people that are talking about the things that I'm thinking and working with and practicing for myself. I've gone into a type of celibacy. I'm not having penetrative sex with anybody. My work involves sensuality and sexuality, and I'm involved in different communities as well. And I've worked for many, many years with, the somatics and finding that sovereignty and that agency. And what I'm hearing here, which mirrors the way that I see it, maybe in different words, is that, when I pull back or come back into myself and reclaim that energy and learn those and see those places that are armored or tight or things aren't flowing, and I need to take that time to myself to be able to do that, which is what I'm doing now. But then to know if I've really grown and learned anything, I have to step into other situations and then sometimes get thrown off base, sometimes get to celebrate because I feel like I've learned something really, like I've actually learned and grown. And then having the capacity to move back and forth. This is the way I see it. It's sort of a paradox. I can't silo myself just in myself and think that I've really learned something, but then I can't just throw myself out there constantly and think like, oh gosh, I need to keep beating my head against this wall in order to learn something. They've done both of those a lot. So, this way of being able to move back and forth, but be at choice when I do it. It's like I recently came out of a relationship too, and it was kind of that I want to be able to choose my own chaos. I don't want to just be thrown into or dragged into somebody else's chaos out of some sense of duty or need. Like if I don't get my thing, then anyway. So I really appreciate it, and Dion, I really listening to what you were saying early in the podcast, and then the last time too, which is what drew me back to this podcast. I can't parrot what you said, but that place of the celibacy not being something of just cutting off relationship. It's a place of finding out who I really am and coming back, for me, what I call it, coming back to a baseline that is truly who we are, which, if I'm operating down here and this has been the baseline or it's the normal baseline in humanity, and I'm trying to make that, then I'm not gaining anything. I'm not learning anything. I'm not growing. But if I open myself up and open up those senses and really am able to expand, then the baseline comes up to, it's not special. It's actually the real baseline where we actually are as human beings, who we are as spiritual beings, who we are as, what we've come into. And I really feel like we've kind of lost a lot of that in our cultures worldwide. Yeah, anyway, that's enough for me. Thank you. I appreciate this conversation.
Yeah, sorry, Mark.
Please,
I just want to touch on what you just said, because it really, what I'm hearing in your share and all these other questions and stuff, it really comes down to the question, why do you want to be celibate? What's really going on? And where are you in your life? What are you working on? Where, like, you put it in levels, and I don't tend to see it like that because it's kind of generalizing. I'm kind of working on myself, and I'm accepting that we're like in a mishmash soup of everything is happening right now. So generalizing it, I'm kind of leaving it alone because it doesn't, I want to be super specific, like detailed. And so when I look at myself, then I can only apply whatever truth to myself. And when I look at you, I can only apply the truth to you, not to no one else. So I'll just want to put it into also everybody here and everybody who's going to be listening, like really start feeling in, what do you need? Like, what is the reason you're potentially thinking about it or doing it? Or, I mean, all of you are here, clearly you're interested in a subject. But the question is, from which perspective are you interested in it? What is really burning in you? What really needs to come alive? What really needs to be worked through? What bugs you in your head? So like start cutting deeper and look behind, like more going to finesse of the work that you do on yourself. Like, why are you actually doing it? So I just wanted to put that in.
It's a great reflection. Can I talk into that, Matt?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Because I really love this of like freedom of choice, kind of like that I want to be able to. I want to be in I want to have as much self-mastery and mastery of myself as I can, so I can choose situations and how situations affect me and how much I want to dive into things. And for me, that never means to shy away from something because I'm afraid or because I feel scared not to do something. Like I want to, so what I like what you said is that, okay, I want to explore myself, and then I need to go back a little bit to see like, okay, what do I learn? And okay, and I work on myself, and then I go in, I dive into life again to like, okay, wow, you're not growing some muscle here. And then I can pull myself out. So I constantly do this check in with life. I don't believe in just withdrawing. At the same time, it's when we talk about relationship, I mean, I think many people are kind of mindlessly engaging in relationship and sexuality. We make it such an importance, but don't really know why. So it can be really helpful to sometimes withdraw, take oneself out, like, who am I without anybody around me? What do I really want? Like Matt said, what do I really want a relationship for? Like, am I in ownership here, or am I just mindlessly being dragged around or meeting because this is something which is supposed to be in society, you know?
Or habit.
Or habit, a habit, exactly. Thank you. That's a great word. It's like how much in you know, in healthy control, like, understand me right, like how much in control am I over my own
self?
Yeah. You're reading my mind today. That's lovely, darling.
Oh, it's a sign.
So I love that because I really believe, and that's why, can I say something with you, Diane, where we don't really agree with the celibacy thing. So sometimes I feel like I know Diane a little bit, yeah, at least. And I know he has, you know, a lot of sexual energy, and he's a great lover, and he's handsome, and he's very, you know, sensitive. And so I'm like, you know, you're like, you're being selfish, you know, holding yourself back, you know, and why don't you just dive in once in a while just to check, you know, because somewhere I believe there is still a hunger, there is a want.
Of course there's a hunger.
Yeah. So I'm trying to encourage him to just like, hey, have a dip, you know, like just what happened.
And give you telephone number, sleep telephone number, you know, in as well.
Yeah, or at least go and take a tantric massage, like you pay for a service, and that's it, like it's safe. There is no like emotional entanglement. But this is what I believe. Like if we shy away from something because we are afraid and then hold back, then we don't really master the situation, because then it's still fear involved. Yeah.
Can I respond to that?
Huh?
Can I respond to that?
Absolutely. I don't say that it's exactly what you're doing.
No, I hear you. And so a little bit of a history. So Sana and I were together, and then we stopped being together, and then we started the Amarin training, and then I went celibate tooth. And then because we did trainings every 6 months, then we had a little ding dong every 6 months for first, I think, year or year and a half. And so that gave me a year and a half of being celibate outside those 6 months fully, and then having a dip, or like coming to check in, finger on the pulse, where am I with this thing that I was working on every 6 months. And what I found actually that it was getting a little bit better. Like last time, there was like a year and a half in, it was a little bit, I was able to relax sooner. It still took me 3 weeks of 3 weeks after the engagement, I actually relaxed 3 weeks. So do this, and then it takes 3 weeks to relax. I mean, that's not mastery. That's
I feel honored.
no, you shouldn't be. Anyway, anyway, so then basically, so then I went on fully, and because I keep checking in, but because I'm doing it for this second chakra relating issues, I don't actually need to engage sexually because I can see how I'm still, like the pattern still is there, it still has me. So there is no point. Like a few months ago, again, my teacher and I, we did another series of sessions, and both of us were like, I'm still not ready. Like if I go back, I would just fall completely back into where I was 8 years ago. Nothing changed because I haven't taken the root out of whatever I'm working on. So I totally believe in reality, and I'm fully on, like, I don't trust anything until I test it. And if I don't feel it, it's not real or whatever, you know, it needs to be actual. So I agree with that you need to go back in life and test, and then go back into drawing board and test again. And I do it nonstop, but I'm still not ready. I would be, because I'm after mastery, like 100% purity, I'm not there. And I need to be honest with myself, because if I'm not, then like, what am I committed to? What am I actually spending my life on? And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to sharing when I'm actually done with it, and come out and ta-da, and go and make love again. You know, really, I'm okay with that, but I'm not ready yet.
But that makes me think of, you know, why sexuality has been so, you know, for example, spiritual teachers and religion and all of that. I mean, there's fear because it is hard to master it. It's hard to master relationship. You know, it's hard to master that connection. So, you know, can it be so that all these, you know, spiritual men throughout times just couldn't fucking master their energy? So they had to make it the rule.
Yeah.
You know, somehow the feminine path is different. You know, we are fluid, we are sexual, we are dynamic, we're a little messy, we're a little loud. Maybe I can be, but there is this difference, and that's why I like my cheeky self, or it's like, but is it really mastery if you just need to shy away? Is that mastery? I question that, and I don't question that with you. I just question it in the big picture. Like, how come it's been so repressed and forbidden in many ways, in many different
this is a great thing, and I have many examples of, not many but some, of, for example, babas in India. They're baba since childhood. They were born into it and never ever had any women. And then age 30, 40, a first Western woman comes with her little titties out, and they fall, tooth gone, because they were repressing it. So this is sad. It's sad because it shows this, like they were drilling and mastering one side of themselves, but they haven't mastered the sexual energy.
This is what I mean. Like, we
I
cannot
know,
master it
I
by
know.
meditating in a way. It will never disappear because the collective, like the who, I believe so. I don't know, but that's my more like all into life kind of
Yeah, and then you have
point of
me.
view of life.
Yeah, but then you have me, who in my work, in our trainings, for those of you that know, that did the trainings, you know, but those of you that don't know, we do sexual de-armoring there. So there's all these beautiful naked women, like, non-stop. So I'm putting myself in a situation where I'm challenging my sexuality. Like, am I able to stay, I'm celibate because it's here in my face, and Sana is also doing her best to kind of woo me in every now and then, you know, and it's okay. But so I'm not shying away, but I just know that I'm not ready. So
No.
it's yeah, it's, but it's sad to see when people, you know, this is what I did first 3 years. You remember, I was like, no, like, get away, like, I was repressing it because I didn't know how to be with it. But now, after all these years, I can be with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very valid point. Yeah.
This is such an interesting topic. I want to come back to that, what as well James said, in combination to that, what Mirabelle's question was. Just, you know, we can, in forms of celibacy, I guess, all master the art of just being on our own and cultivating our own sexual energy and finding peace and harmony and self-love. And this is just my experience of you know, trying whatever I can, trying everything in relationship in all forms, is that the, you know, just like I can to myself I can tell myself as much as I want that I'm just like having found it, but the real proof is when I'm going back into proximity with somebody else, and if I'm choosing to be sexually with somebody, have I mastered myself yet? Am I capable of really being in attunement with my own energy? Can I stay in connection with myself? But you know, we can all be on ourselves to a degree, probably for the rest of our life, but I think real transformation and the real deal happens in proximity and in sexual encounter between at least two people who choose to be sexually with each other. You know, and I think I don't know, I might get, I don't know, 80 or I don't know which age, but at one point I just have completely lost interest in everything. But I can say, you know, just literally in the last 20 years, or let's say 15 years, I've done everything I wanted to do around sexuality. And I think of myself, I'm a pretty free, sexual liberated being. And my experience being in a workshop, for example, or when we are in the de-armoring training, and yeah, there are naked bodies and there are beautiful naked bodies. But it's for me, for example, it's just another day in the office that has nothing to do with any sexual dynamics in me. It's just like, yeah, this is the nature of how we look. But if I really want to go close with a person, then how deep am I capable of really going there without losing myself? And when we're just going out of proximity, how much can I still be myself without having lost myself in somebody else? And that's literally my kind of aim. And I would not say about myself that I'm a finished being or that I'm complete in that. But at the moment, I would say I'm really, really happy about being sexual, promiscuous, but being with other people, but being fully sexual, liberated and free in myself in all forms that I choose for myself.
Guys, can I say something?
Whoever that is. Yeah, Robert, I've seen your question. That was awesome. Please say something.
I've been sitting here with conversations in my head and reactions in my body.
Okay.
And because it's such a big subject, and I feel like it's so easy for me and I think for other people too, to just be intellectual about it, you know, like we're talking about. But I keep thinking as we're talking about this, that when I did the training with you guys, I guess about 5 or 6 years ago, I came back from, well, I came for the 11 days, then I went to Spain and I did the second one, which was supposed to be the first one, the immersion experience after I did the training. So I had 18 days of training in a relatively short period of time. And I came back with a new body. I came back with like an energy. It wasn't really matured or fulfilled. It was wanting to do something. Didn't really know how to do something with it, but it was clearly different than what I arrived with. And it wasn't that it was sexual, but it was sexual. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's that state. It's that state. And it was the awareness, what I'm calling the energy body. And I've done work before I ever did this work. I'm a Gurdjieffian. I've been following the work of Gurdjieff for many years. I've been involved with that work. So without any sexuality, I mean, just from years past, having the experience of my body being alive.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then I lost it. I left that work. This is before I came to you guys.
Yeah.
I had cause to leave it. I went back into the world, you know, from being for like 18 years in a, you know, in an organization that was cultivating my spiritual growth, you know, in a manner of speaking, not sexual, no sexuality to it. But, you know, and circumstances that led me to do the training, irrelevant. But, you know, now where I'm at, you know, is what's really mattering, what's important. Because, you know, I've had that experience. Now
Robert, what's your question?
I'm not connected to the work that that we had done in the past. I want that connection. And there has to be a way to find it. I don't think it's sexuality or celibacy.
No.
I think that's like behavior, you know?
So, I mean, Robert, what was the difference? You said you were a lot in your body. So what was the difference that made you go into your body?
Well, I remember when I came back, I felt like I was walking down the street and I was engaging with people where I'm connecting to the ground, to the people, to everybody. I wasn't in my head.
But exactly, but so what was it that brought you into the body? What was the actually step? You know, like I hear you looking at something.
I think it was
feels,
18 days. I think it was 18 days of being with you guys, to be honest.
Yeah. So
I
the
can't
body
be,
work.
I
the
can't be
armor.
addicted to you guys. I have to generate it myself.
So what I'm thinking
Robert,
is,
hang on a second. Let me just, I'll just do a very short answer. Robert, basically you need to keep practicing. This is the thing. Like what I'm hearing in you said 18 days, and in our workshops, it's super intense, it's super intimate, it's super personal, and it's practice. It's like being in the container of real life. And normally when people go out to their lives, you don't have that privilege really. So, but you need to create it. You need to create a community. You need to create friends that you can recreate it with. You need to go to gatherings that kind of have similar energy. You need to practice. If you go back to your normal life after what you, the work you did with us, it's not surprised that you kind of lose the connection with that zingy. Because for those of you that don't know, our trainings are super alive. They're very authentic, they're very alive, they're very real, they're very personal, very intimate. Of course, you walk out feeling, wow, I'm alive. But then if you go back doing what you did before, which is mingle with people that are closed, go to places where closed people go, you don't give yourself an option to actually, this is what we say during our trainings, people. Once you finish your trainings, you need to start mixing with people of similar caliber. Otherwise, you're going to go mad or you're going to go back to the old. It is not possible to be open like you are during the trainings and weeks with normal, I don't want to sound judgmental, but people who are closed and expect to have the same results. It's not possible. You need to change friends, you need to change groups that you mix with, you need to change activities that you do, even jobs that you do, because you need to surround yourself with people who resonate with new you. This is default. Without it, you cannot expect a result to last. You know, this is a sad truth, but it's true. And so what I recommend, what we recommend in our trainings, and what happens with me, as I was working on myself, every 6 months to 1 year, I would change group of friends completely. New people around me, new activities, new groups, because I needed to feel in resonance with me, new me. And because I was changing, I needed to keep doing that. So my recommendation to you, Robert, is like try to find communities and people that resonate, or try to advertise and start doing little workshop, but like gatherings at your own home, and just somehow, I don't know, surround yourself with people that you want to surround with, rather than be a kind of, yeah.
I want to add on to that as well. I agree to all of that, Dan. And also what I hear you say is that when what you felt in the body is aliveness, yeah?
It's the only thing that's real.
Wait. Yeah, exactly. It's the only thing that is real. So, and it feels sexual, but it's not sexual, but it's life force. That's how it feels. It's this zesty, zingy, bubbly, champagne feeling. And it makes us feel good. It makes us feel happy. It makes us feel creative. It makes us lit up. And, you know, there's even measurements on different frequencies, you know, and that's a very fine, high frequency. We want to be there. Like, why wouldn't we want to be there? So what I'm saying is, like, if you have that as a you know, there is an embodiment, there is a memory of that you want to be here. And you even say that you long for it, you know, go do breath work, go dance, find a Yarming practitioner, find a Tantra practitioner, somebody who helps you activate the life force. Because it's all about coming in, down into the body again, yeah? Because you will never figure it out, like it is impossible. Head will block because head has a more dense frequency. So if you're in the head, you can't feel the body. You can't feel these tingling sensations in the body. So the more you can just dive straight into the body, like shout, scream, go to do dynamic, yoga, breath work. I mean, this is great stuff to start to activate that again. And then just as a byproduct, you will start to feel the aliveness and the joy coming up again. I can guarantee it. If it doesn't work, I give you a private session.
Thank you, Sarah.
You didn't work. No.
How much does it take to find out?
And I can say that to all of you in here because I'm so passionate about that of rising our own energy, because it makes us feel good and alive. Like, this society is so mental, we're so busy, we're so stressed, we're focusing on the doing, on to-do list. Like we forget how many forget, I'm not going to say all of us, many forget how it actually feel to be alive. And every time, you know, when people feel alive, it's like, I love this. Like, we want to be there. I can guarantee that you want to be there. Many of you are, but this is life. Yeah, this is life. But our society is so built on a mental process. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say here in our Western culture and society we live in, is even we are very spoiled with our kind of sexual liberation and freedom, and you know, coming from different countries, some countries having kind of nudity at the lake when you go bathing in nature, or at the beach, and this is just like this is just simple and easy. And then you come into cultures, this is kind of more like a little bit just like, no, don't do that here. You know, we are still very spoiled, but there are cultures in this world, you know, there is sexuality through kind of politics and religion and society, and you can name it, so suppressed. You know, the only thing that exists is the heterosexual normative, just like to make more of us. But where is the kind of the spiritual aspect of that, and the spiritual aspect with ourselves, with the life force energy, and the spiritual aspect in proximity with other people, and the proximity with life force in itself, with nature. So what is our sexual relationship with life itself out there?
Yeah.
This is just, you know, and we are really fucking spoiled. I just want to say that.
Who is we?
Well, society in the Western environment, we here in Sweden and Europe, so we are pretty spoiled here.
Oh. Is there another question?
Yeah, I'd like to, wait.
Frederick had a question. Yeah.
Please wait. Ilona said, Iona, sorry, I don't know how to say her name. She kind of made a point about, I thought self-mastery is about being able to be with more people with ease, to expand my circle, including the disconnected folk. Well, let's talk about it for a little moment, because I think it's important. So what I know from my experience, and also from people that I met who are more pure than me, the purer you are, the more lonely you are. And this is a fact. Like, my teacher, she's a master, and she basically told me some time ago that she feels super lonely because there is no other master she can share herself with. Master cannot share herself with a not master. It's not possible. You need to, in order to really be met, you need to vibrate at the same frequency. And so, if you like, the higher on the vibrational scale you go, unfortunately, because we live in a fucked up world, the more lonely you are. So yes, I can be with anybody, and I work with anybody, disconnected or connected, that's no problem, working. When it comes to my personal life, I also want to be met. And unfortunately, I cannot be met by disconnected folk, because I feel they are my children. You know, I'm talking to a child, a spiritual child. So I don't feel met. We're not equal. So this is my 2 cents on that one. So I don't know, Sarah, Mark, you want to say something on that?
Yeah, I want to mention briefly, because it kind of activates a bit about my journey. So let me see. Luana. Sorry?
It's Joanna.
Joanna.
Yeah.
Thanks for trying.
Thank you, Joanna. So I don't know where you are on your journey, because sometimes, where are you, by the way? Let me see. There is so many people here. Maybe I can chat with you a little bit.
I don't know how to show you what I am.
No, I'm gonna find, there you are. Okay. So just because this is an interesting topic, and I kind of, just briefly about my own journey, where I thought I had to be open, to be spiritual, to be masterful, and I just dove into some polyamorous circle, and I denied kind of love and intimate connection, because it was kind of, it didn't fit into that circle where I was. I kind of became a good student, and I actually, in order to be so developed, when I realized that I actually hurted myself. So this can be a big bullshit belief, Like you know, I almost getting angry there. So I just want to hear, not angry at you, of course. What is it? Where are you in your journey? And maybe I can reflect something.
Yeah, thanks for asking. How can I answer this briefly? I think I went through this thought process that self-mastery is about being able, you know, to be with your parents for longer,
That's a good one. Yeah.
right?
Being with who for
Uh,
longer, sorry?
Your
Your
parents.
parents for longer, right?
Oh,
That's
wow.
like,
Good one.
and I've experienced the opposite, right? I've experienced a lot of sensitivity, a lot of opening, and I found it very difficult to be around my workplace, around
Change
my,
it.
you know, the people from my, unless I hold space. When I hold space, I'm
In control.
I mean, like when I hold space, I feel like I'm really aligned, and then I can be with anyone.
Yeah.
But when I'm not holding space, I feel so much of the environment. It's really difficult to be grounded in myself.
Yeah.
I think I have this expectation that I should be grounded enough in myself,
Okay.
not to be
You should.
so much.
Great,
No,
yeah.
you should.
Great there, Dan.
No, but I'm
So
just listening.
how are you with your boundaries?
It's
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
that's a big story.
Yeah, most likely.
Very big, very
Yeah.
big story with
Yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah.
And I'm also neurodivergent, so this means that my nervous system is really open just by design.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You get it. So what could you I mean, I can just from my own perspective, I'm super sensitive and I pick up on people's energies and environments, and back in the days it was terrible. I could hardly be out because I was just absorbed in everything. And on a kind of personality level, I was super codependent. I was a pleaser, so I was trained to all the time feel into people's needs. But what helped me massively was really to start to, you know, put boundaries, be more true to myself, and define my own structure more. And that have helped me so much. So I'm thinking, is there something you can do? Like when I hear you say this with your boundaries, and that it's a bit vague, where could you start? I mean, that's also self-mastery, you know, that's a part of becoming masterful in being around other people.
Yeah.
I'm
Something you said about defining your own structure really resonated in my body, and I'm curious what you meant by defining your own structure.
Yeah.
I need to put a little pause on this because I'm conscious of time. We have 6 minutes left of this webinar. And so, Joanna, I would really invite you to come to one of our trainings, because this is exactly what we work there a lot on. Like finding
I'd love to come to your trainings, and I struggle to be in trainings. That's part of my boundary setting. As being neurodivergent, I cannot be with people for more than 3 hours a day. It's too much for me.
Okay.
If you want, you can connect with me and we can have a conversation.
Yeah, I'll have a one-to-one.
And I can give you some advice. But basically, if other people having the same issue, like defining yourself is to understand your needs, your wants, who you are, what you like, what you don't like. That sounds very basic, but when it comes again into relationship, this is why it's so difficult to be around other people, because we lose ourselves. So this is like the journey. Okay, what is true for me here and now? Yeah.
Can I have a super short mini question?
You go for it.
Yeah.
Connect with me, Joanna.
Yeah. I just want to put in this with longer relationships, about connecting with people and be mirrored by a partner that you might be intimate with. But it's great to surround you with different people and change environments and all of that. But there's also, for me, it's been a super helpful way of staying in connection and to go deeper. And even when it's struggling, and even if we're not on the same path or not same level all the time, it's still a learning. And for me, it might be struggling for a while, but to keep the connection has for me been quite important.
Absolutely. I 100% agree to that.
Agree to that 100%
Like
as well.
deep, yeah, deepening, and because that's also another form of mastery. We can just go deeper, and especially I can imagine that you have such a conscious relationship as well. Like you can really mirror and you can stay in their fears and you can show your shadows, and that's a sport, which is, I mean, for me, that's divine relationship. I love that form of relating. That is precious. Yeah. But thank you for bringing that up.
So my suggestion would be for
Yeah.
the sorry, Jan, don't want to interrupt.
No,
you.
I was gonna say we need to start wrapping it up, and I would actually just want to invite people. I mean, basically, we never have enough time in these kind of things because this can now turn into a session, and this is amazing.
Yeah.
But let's invite you to do these sessions properly. So if any of you really feel like this is interesting and you'd like to dive deeper into all of those topics, come to one of our trainings, because this is really the purpose of those trainings, is to actually have more time. You know, in a webinar like this, we can touch topics, we can answer some questions, but it's like super shallow, and I almost feel like irresponsible that like deep questions, but we don't have enough time to actually go through it and do some work. So maybe we talk about our future trainings, and then for a few of you that are interested and resonating, come and dive into it. So we actually, yes, Matt?
No, I just want to say I will post the link just like to the training if you want to check it out, so you see it here. It's in the chat, just like copy or just like push the button and you have it open in your browser. Just have a check, just like what we do and when and where and how and what, how much and so on.
Basically, we have 3 trainings coming up over the next, I think, 3 months, right? First one is Body, Sound and Breath in Denmark. That's happening in 2 weeks. There are some spaces left. It's super amazing. Go to the website and check it out. One after that is Sana's De-armoring Through Pleasure. This is 3 weeks later. Again, go to the website to check the details. And then the last one is the De-armoring training in April. Again, go to the website and check the info and connect with us if you have personal questions. We all work one-to-one, all 3 of us. So if you want a session, just get in touch. If you have any questions and you want to have a discovery Zoom call with one of us for half an hour to find out if it can help you or wouldn't help you, what would be the next kind of stage on your path, we are super open to do that too. Am I forgetting anything, guys?
I feel that it's kind of we're gonna send out an email with this recording, and then we can also add the links and emails where you can connect with us if you have questions. Yeah.
I have a personal agenda, and the agenda is because I want to say just like what is my kind of wisdom that I would like to provide for everybody. And I would like to ask you and Deanne and Sana if you have as well kind of a minute, kind of just like what would be your 5 cents, your wisdom, your 1 minute wisdom, a giveaway for everybody to take with them. Maybe I start because it was my agenda.
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, and then you can collect yourself and just like so one of my main points at the moment to research is what is sexual freedom and liberation. And most people that I know of, and I was one of them, have this neurological behavior in the nervous system when it comes to sexual encounter, to contract and clench and squeeze their muscle. And stop doing that and learn to relax and expand and become an orgasmic being. And this is why de-armoring has saved my life. This is my 5 cents.
Okay, I can go. Well, my heart is pounding. If I would have a little bit more time in a circle, I would probably roar right now. You who know me, you know what I mean. For me, everything that I do and what I want to support people into is alignment, authenticity, and understand that we have power within. The power to change, the power to choose, and to encourage people to understand that, like, we are not victims. we can decide to live our life as we want to, like, get out of the program. Get out of the program and into power. This is this is what I do. Everything that I do is for this alignment and self-mastery, so we can live more fully and freely. Like life is meant to be joyful with all its ups and downs, and the whole point is to be so skillful that the ups and downs doesn't really bother us anymore. It doesn't really move us. Like we don't need to get rid of it. It's like I enjoy life. Thank you.
I think my 1 cent, first of all, I copy paste what both of you said. I really agree with both of it. And on my side, something new, I would just say, clearly you're here because you're interested in the topic and you're interested in working on yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't be spending an hour and a half with us here. So my recommendation is like really look in a mirror and say, what is it next that hinders me on my path? Like be really brutally honest, like not like hoochie toochie, nicey, oh, I'm good, I don't need to do anything, because that's bullshit. So really look in and say, what is it the next? Where do I need to catalyze next? What's really important next? And then just go and do it. Like the way I live my life is through action. I'm like an action baby. You know, everything needs to be lived and really fully lived. Immerse yourself deeply into the experience of being alive. Because then by the time I'm really old, I can look back and say, I lived.
Yeah.
There's nothing more I could have done to live more. So I empower you and inspire you and really like just go and live. Like whatever you need to go and do it now, like today, not in 10 years. And so I'm open, we are all open, come to our trainings, come to any other training, just work on yourself, live. If you want to fuck, you go and fuck. If you don't want to fuck, you don't go and fuck. Just like live, stop sitting on the fence, stop being wishy-washy, stop like, oh, I don't know what to do. It doesn't matter what you do. Do something, and if it doesn't feel good, turn 180 degrees and run the other way, because that will feel good. It's either life is a yes or no. It really is a binary. Like it either feels good or it doesn't feel good. It's good for me, it's not good for me. It makes me grow, it makes me go back. It's either light or it's dark. It's super fucking simple. So just like live by it. Just like go and do, like Bashar says, follow your passion. Like go and do what you want to do and do it 100%. That's my 5 cents. I love you all.
Great. Yeah, I love that.